Alright guys, today I'm going to be showing books that I picked up at my local shop when I went to get my pull list. If you've been following this channel for the last couple weeks, you know that I've been on the frugal side. Trying not to spend any money because I got three shows coming up. Plus there's a big anniversary sale coming at the end of the month. I still got enough for another haul or two, but I figured I'd just show these books this week. Plus, I forgot to show a couple things, or two books that I got for Christmas that are sort of comic related, I guess. Comic book related. They have comics in them, so they're obviously. But before we do all that, you know what we gotta do? We gotta do our Two from the Tomb. So I was watching Big Elbow's latest vid. He was. I'll leave a link down below. He was showing off his John Romita Jr. Thor run. I think it was volume 2. And it's always nice and refreshing seeing these kind of vids with people completing runs and stuff like that. But he was talking about whose favorite the characters that John Romita drew and stuff. Some of his favorites. Mine was Daredevil. So it got me thinking. And I'm not going to show you. But it got me thinking. I was thinking about Daredevil and how I came across him. So I figured a good two from the Tomb would be first appearances for me. What I mean by that is that the first time I was introduced to these characters. And so the first time I was actually introduced to Daredevil was through this book right here. It's a trade paperback. It's a reprinting of issues. Let me see, 181 through 183. No, yeah, 182, 183, and 184. So this was I was first introduced to the Punisher, or the Daredevil. I collected the Punisher for the longest time. Before I got to this book, unfortunately, Daredevil appeared in Punisher issue number 10, but I started collecting the Punisher at issue 17. And when I went to the comic shop, I can only go back so far because the Punisher at that time was a very hot book. I'm talking, behind the up on the wall and all that stuff. So there was no getting those first 10 issues at that time. And it was the price was for my 13, 14-year-old self was not going to happen. But yeah, I remember finding this book for $5. They had the Punisher in it. I was like, oh, cool, man. And I thought because it was Child's Play, it had something to do with the horror movies or something like that. I thought, let's give it a try. But little did I know, and I recognized Frank Miller and Klaus Janson through that Dark Knight Returns because I was already a fan of those guys. But I had no idea that Frank Miller and Klaus Janson were on Daredevil. I might have read it in the the introduction for the Dark Knight Returns, but never really got a chance to read any of those issues at the time. But yeah, I studied this book for the longest time when I was in school suspension. This is one of the books I took with me, and I traced some of the stuff here. And you can see where it's all damaged and stuff. I've had this book since probably since 1989 actually. But yeah, this is my first introduction to Daredevil, and I ended up becoming a huge fan of Daredevil due to this book, especially Frank Miller's run. And I actually liked John Romita Jr.'s artwork on that book also. In the later issues, way after Frank Miller left, and Ann Nicosetti was writing. That's when I really got into Daredevil. Also with then Lee Weeks was after that on art, and Scott McDaniel, Pittsburgh's own. So I followed Daredevil after that, but this made me a huge Daredevil fan after reading this. So that was my first appearance of Daredevil to me. The second character I'm going to talk about is, of course, Wolverine. I just reread this book, man. It's so good. If you can get a copy of this, it reprints issues 6 and 7 of the War Journal. The classic covers, I mean, on those books. But this is just so good. Definitely worth picking up. I don't know. I didn't check on eBay. I should have checked on eBay. Matter of fact, I'll check on eBay and see what it's going for. So there are copies on eBay for $10. If you don't own this already, you can't afford the other issues. I think the other single issues for that from the War Journal series might be a little pricey. I'm not sure, but for $10 you get a really decent story. But this was my first introduction to Wolverine. I've said it many times on this channel. I was not a huge fan of the X-Men at that time. Their fans really grated on me at the time. I felt like an outcast within my own hobby, being around those people. But as the years go by, you lighten up a little bit. But I've always liked Wolverine as a solo character. I just never, I don't dig him as a team member. Or I think a couple years ago I read issues like a teacher or something. I mean, that's just nonsense. Wolverine is a freaking maniac, got claws out. But just how good this was. And the reason why, Punisher and Wolverine fight is a little misunderstanding. But I don't want to give any of it away. But you can see inside here. I mean, that's a cool page right there. But then I would go on to collect the Wolverine solo series plus Frank Miller's mini series. I wouldn't get that till years later. I'm still missing like issue 4 or something like that. Issue 3 or 4. I have the first 2 issues. I know that for sure, but I can't remember what the. But Wolverine, I became a huge Wolverine fan after this. I liked how he was protecting animals and stuff like that. It resonated with me back then. I think he said something. He only kills if he's going to use it to eat or use it for clothing or something like that. But yeah, that's when I became a huge, or not a huge fan, but a fan of Wolverine. I pick up stories here and there. I can't stand any of his modern stuff, so I usually pick up stuff from this era. The solo stuff. I just don't care to read anything recent with him on teams. I'm going back and rereading the Chris Claremont X-Men, of course. I thought that was okay, but my favorite is always going to be the Wolverine ongoing solo series, like Larry Hama writing it. Some of that, just really well done. Those books, especially the first 50 issues, I'd say. So I'm curious. Is there certain books or anything where it was your first appearance that you remember? Yeah, make a video about it. Comment down below. I appreciate it. All right. So, on for the haul. I'm going to try to make this not too long of a video here. But I was watching, I'm name dropping everybody today, man. Watching my good buddy, Mr. Rigor Mortis 86. His link will be down below also. His video, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago now. He was showing some of these books, the Creepshow books, the new ones. I had no interest in buying any of them, but I walked into the store and I saw them laying on top of a dollar bin, so I was like, I'm just gonna give it a shot. So I ended up picking up 2 issues of that. If you go to Mr. Rigor Mortis' channel, he's literally holding this book in his thumbnail. So I ended up picking up Creepshow issue number 4. And the reason why I picked it up is because the way he was showing it off and stuff like that, it made me just like, especially this part where yeah, this last part of the story here. I just thought it was the art when it was pretty cool, you know. That's why we call him the influencer, you know. But they also had this one, so I just picked it up because Kelly Jones. Which reminds me, I got a video about that guy too coming up here that I'm working on. But yeah, I just saw this cover. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna pick it up too, and then I'll flip through a little bit here. He doesn't do any of the interior art, which is sort of disappointing, but hey, you can't get everything you want, you know. But for a buck, I figure I'd give it a chance. If not, if I don't like him, or if I just read it and do one and done, you know, read it and I'll probably never read it again. But I thought this is badass. Got the wrestling ring, yeah. But thanks again for Mr. Rigor Morris. He always his channel is really great. So if you're not subbed to him, Big Elbow, sub them guys up. I was bagging and boarding here. Who else can I name drop here? Sequential Geek put out an Aliens video. Definitely check that video out. Probably, I think it was I commented, I thought it was one of his best videos. So this one, I think I got the idea from the comic Crypt of Castle Hill. I saw this one on there, so I was like, I really don't collect this series, but I like this issue. A little damaged, but I'll take it. Vampirella versus Red Sonja. The Perilla cover. I just like that Vampirella. Like the running mascara. Might start trying to collect books with that kind of, you know, the running mascara look. I'm trying to get that Catwoman issue 51, but of course Red Sonja looks pretty good. Man, I got a little ding in it, so I don't know. I might have to find a better copy. But the art's not really that bad in this book either. You know, Dynamite for me has always been hit or miss. If I, it's either to me it's either generic or it's really good. So this is a pretty decent, you know. But I have no idea what's been going on in the series, so I can't really tell you. You know damn well it's gonna be right in the middle of the thumbnail. The last dollar book I picked up, it's a little damaged, but I've I own the first issue of this series, and I've always wanted to read about this character. I believe this is his first appearance, but for a buck, had to buy it, even though it's like bent up a little bit. You can see right there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my wife's 1999 yearbooks, flatten it on it, put a couple weights on it. But it's the Tick issue number 9. The first appearance of the Chainsaw Vigilante. I really didn't look it up, so I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that's it. It's first printing, I believe. Yeah, but I have the first issue of the Tick. I have like a 37th printing or whatever, the first issue. You just never. He's a character I really rarely ever see in the dollar bins, so I don't think that's. I think it's one of the reasons why I don't own so many of the issues. It's not something I'm going out hunting for, but it's one of those issues or one of those series that if I find like for $1, I'm picking it up. Because to me, I think it's I thought the first issue was okay. I thought it definitely would have read more if I could have had access to it. Flip through the first couple of pages here. I don't know if anybody's else's. Yeah, this is pretty cool. I've always seen that character, the Chainsaw Vigilante. I always thought he was cool. I saw him in like I guess ads in other comics and stuff like that. But what it I never had a chance to read it, so it's gonna be interesting. Maybe I'll do a what you read in PZ on this one. Try to do it with the next 2 weeks. Gotta make a mental note. Yeah, but I remember this image. I've seen it a lot, like in different comics and stuff like that, like ads for I don't know, probably East Coast Comics or something like that. But yeah, let me know if is the Tick after issue 1 worth picking up. I'll let you know what I think of issue number 9 shortly. But anybody else that's read this, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. So for the Christmas thing that I missed when I was showing my stuff off that I got for Christmas, I forgot to show these two. And speaking of first appearances and stuff like that, I think a lot of people, myself, first started noticing comics was actually in newspapers. You know, so ended up. My wife and kids were nice enough to get me this Calvin and Hobbes, The Authoritative, by Bill Watterson, and just reprints like all the comics. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of the Calvin and Hobbes. Uh, those that don't probably recognize Calvin there. If you never read the newspapers or anything like that, he's usually pissing on a Ford symbol or something. But yeah, I got that. They got me that one, and this one. So I have a couple others. But yeah, like I said, really like these collected editions, and they're pretty thick too. I mean, yeah, I just remember like reading the Sunday paper and always looking for Calvin and Hobbes. This is, I think, late '80s, early '90s. It was like something I've always like. I used to get the paper delivered to my house. Yeah, back in the old days. And the comic section was always worth it. They used to have they had a Spider-Man one running too, but it sort of sucked. I mean, you got like three to six panels, man. Couldn't do shit. Just like went on forever. Uh, Dick Tracy, I think I read a couple of those, but it was more towards the end. It was probably basically reprints too, But those were always dug those in Bizarre World and stuff like that. But all right, on to the pull list here. What time we? Oh yeah, gotta get this rolling here. So as I've been saying, I'll probably stop saying this after now, but or after this vid, I had to cut down on my pull list. I'm gonna add one or two more things on because a couple of my mini series are ending. So I figure, but I'll talk about those more later. But these are my last 2 weeks worth of hauls, and you'll see got Spawn. This is issue number 339. It's $2.99, so it's worth it to me. Still enjoying it. But it's not one of my favorite Spawn series. That would be Gunslinger. I've talked about this book a lot. Uh, I think it's one of those books where, I mean, the art in it's just so cool. I mean, look at this, man. It's just a thing of beauty. Yeah, but if I had to recommend anything, and I can only pick up one ongoing title, this would probably be it right now. It's just one of my favorite titles right now. I just really enjoy it. I've said it before also. Uh, Todd McFarlane always writes for the 14-year-old male. Uh, he always, and I think that's what makes comics cool, you know. Because when I started collecting, you know, probably a lot of you guys, you're around that between that 10 to 15-year-old age, and that's what all the comics were aimed at, and then that's what this book is sort of aimed at. You know, it's a lot of action, a lot of some humor in there. You know, hot chicks. But I think once they, you know, not every book should be written for that demographic, you know, or that with that in mind. But it seems like there's a lot less of those books, and that's what makes this one stand out. And plus, it's just good. It's a good time. And here's the kick in the balls of the month. Batman issue 133. I'm an ongoing Batman collector. I have every issue from what is it, 150, 152 to current, and I'm only like less than 40 issues away from getting issues 100 to current. So, uh, but this, I saw this. I'm like, oh, okay. Love the cover. I mean, it's pretty cool. You know, Alfred. And I'm not sure, man. I don't know what the hell they can do with Alfred anymore. He's I wish they'd just bring him back. Be done with it. But this thing right here, I'm not sure if you can see that nice $4.99 price tag for the freaking cover A. Uh, there's a reason why I'm only down to one DC book. No Marvel. Well, I take it back. I was collecting the Sergeant Rock versus the Army of Dead or whatever that was. But now that mini series is over. But that's pretty much it, man. I can't believe it, man. $4.99, and it doesn't seem like there's too much extra. It's a thicker book. I mean, I don't want to spoil this for anybody. I haven't read it yet either. But I really don't care for the backups in a lot of these books either. That's sort of pissing me off too. I mean, just make it $3.99. Just give me that freaking Batman book. All right, guys. Enough ranting and raving. Uh, Thanks for checking out my book. Check out the links down below. I'll leave the links down below this week. Forgot to put them last week. But yeah, if you new to this channel, please go down and sub all those guys up. Uh, they put out some killer content, all of them. And even the ones that aren't putting out anything, they're still good videos to watch. But we'll talk to you next time.